Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the March 17th, 2016 edition of the Midweek Update here on Rasslin with Redbeard. As the old saying goes, we're a day late and a dollar short. Except my wife and I just got back from Hawaii, so it's more like a day late and $500 short. Yeah, send money. I'm going to start a GoFundMe page. Number 5 story of the week is that Titus O'Neil has announced he's preparing for life after WWE. It's no secret as to what's been going on here. Anybody who's following this story knows well what's going on up to this point. Titus was involved in an incident that unfortunately happened to take place on camera, to where he inadvertently reached out to try and do something that could have been, a nice gentlemanly gesture in asking him to stand back while Stephanie went forward. This took place during the edition of Raw here a couple of weeks ago, where Daniel Bryan announced his retirement. The McMahons were coming off stage, and Titus just did what he did. He grabbed McMahon's arm. McMahon then turned around and shoved him, and this could all be seen on camera. That's probably what makes this the worst part of it, is that it wasn't something that took place backstage. This was something that was in front of everyone, and it's exposed, and that's what's probably made it even worse. But at any rate, in recent interviews, Titus has said that he has no plans to sign another WWE contract, and I cannot blame him for that whatsoever. He's gone on to say some things about how wrestling was never really his thing. He never really planned on this being a part of his long-term goals. It just sort of happened. It's one of these things to where, because of the fact that he was recruited as a potential wrestler, he was a football player for the University of Florida, great athlete, had the ability. It just kind of fell in his lap. But he clearly has other things that he could do. He's a great spokesperson. He could be involved in a number of different things. Could start his own business ventures for all we know. But it does appear as though he's planning on leaving the company sooner rather than later. And like we said before, could not second guess him for that particular decision. It's going to be a good move on his part. It's going to be interesting to see what he does in the future, of course, but definitely a good move for him to get away from the heat that's going to be following him probably for the rest of his career as far as wrestling is concerned anyway. Number 4 story of the week is the unfortunate passing of Japanese superstar Hayabusa. This was an unfortunate story that happened back on March 3rd. He passed away as a result of an aneurysm. Hayabusa is one of those individuals that just seemed to flame out, which, given the fact that he had some references to a phoenix in regard to his gimmick, it's kind of appropriate, because he was a innovator as far as being a high flyer, did things with his body and with the kind of reckless abandon that you really didn't see a whole lot of then 14 or 15 years ago, and unfortunately you see it a lot now from guys who probably aren't as talented as he was and who are going out there and doing things that are very reckless and that are quite dangerous. Hayabusa himself even admitted to the fact that while he was considered an innovator and while he did willingly bring forward all these guys who are now jumping off of God knows what, it's just one of these things where he's even admitted in some of his final statements that it's unfortunate that I did the things that I did, because of the fact that now guys are resulting in or doing these moves and they're having the same results that I did, where they're suffering terrible injuries. You have guys who are taking head bumps and whatnot, who are getting dropped on their necks, and it's worthless, because you have so many guys in the independent scene especially who idolize a competitor like Hayabusa, and they're getting paid very little money to go out there and risk their lives on a daily basis, competing for little independent companies that appreciate them about as much as the next independent promoter will. But at any rate, it's a very unfortunate story. He had just really gotten to a point here within the past couple of years where he was able to escape the wheelchair that he had been stuck in as a result of being paralyzed. But it's a sad story, but at the same point, there are a couple of bright spots to it. Regardless, we do want to send out our best wishes and thoughts to Hayabusa's friends and family, and definitely appreciate all that he gave to the sport, which unfortunately was everything. Number 3 story of the week is that Ken Anderson has been fired by TNA Wrestling. The story kind of evolved after Ken was found to have said some rather interesting things about TNA during an independent show. He basically said bleep TNA during an in-ring promo. This was, of course, kind of one of those situations where he was cuddled on by the fans, but once it was out there, it was out there. And then suddenly, the snowball, as it were, rolled on downhill. It became a big, you-know-what snowball. The reasoning that TNA announced for his firing was that he had competed during a match while he was under the influence. And that's, of course, kind of funny because of the fact that you immediately have these recollections of the Sting Jeff Hardy match from back in, when was it? I don't remember. But the match where Jeff was very obviously under the influence. And you have to wonder, okay, is this a legitimate reason to fire him? Was this something that they came out with just to say, okay, well, we don't like you either, so we're going to bury you as much as we can to whoever might be out there listening to us? We've seen some comments made from other people that really don't give any type of credence to the idea that Mr. Anderson was under the influence. This seemed to be more just a parting of these two groups, individuals, whatever you want to call them, to where they were no longer getting along creatively for whatever reason, and TNA and Mr. Anderson just couldn't see eye to eye. It's unfortunate, though, that if it's really that situation, that they would, then they being TNA, would feel as though they had to come out and try and do something like this to, soil his reputation. Let's be honest here. Do people really care what TNA says at this point in time? I don't think so. But regardless, it's an interesting story. It's kind of funny at the same time, but they're both going to keep on going on regardless, and we'll just have to see what happens from here with both individuals. And it'd be interesting to see whether or not old Mr. Anderson gets a pot or a drunkard's gimmick out of this, but who knows. Number 2 story of the week is our reaction to WWE's Roadblock. This was a pretty fun event, but it was because of 2 matches and not because of the overall bulk of the card. The main event, fantastic. Dean Ambrose and Triple H told a great story, and the amazing thing there is that it's 2 guys who are really obviously just super talented at doing what they do. Triple H, of course, is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. Dean Ambrose is going to be in that particular role in a couple of years because he gets it. He's a great mind, knows what's going on, and can really stand toe-to-toe with someone like Triple H. Even though, the perception might be, oh, well, Dean Ambrose is this younger guy. He's not been around that long. How's he going to be able to hang with Triple H? They put the kibosh on that brilliantly by saying, okay, well, we thought Ambrose is this nut job, but he came in here with legit strategy and some ideas on how he could counter everything that Hunter threw at him. So it was a great story that they told, and making people aware very quickly that this was going to be an even matchup. So it was a fantastic thing to watch. It's a great match, and it was kind of humorous from the standpoint that people are watching this thinking, okay, well, this is the match we're getting for the Roadblock pay-per-view. Is there going to be that much of a match left by the time Roman Reigns comes around for WrestleMania? The finish of the match ultimately had no bearing in what's going to happen at WrestleMania. It's still going to be Triple H and Roman Reigns. It's still going to be Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. But you just have to wonder, is Roman going to be able to have that caliber of match? Because when you've had this match in such close proximity to WrestleMania, they just have to wonder, is he going to be able to turn in the same type of thing with someone like Roman Reigns? I would imagine he probably will be, but the thing with that is, it's going to have the overhead of the fan reaction. And this past week on Raw, I think you've kind of started to plant the seeds of the possibility that Roman could lose it at some point. Roman could go rogue. He could go finally into this heel state that people have wanted to be in forever. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on there, but the match that Ambrose and Triple H had was fantastic. But the other match I want to highlight from Roadblock was the NXT Tag Team Championship. Oh gosh, these 2 teams were fantastic. Really did a great job of highlighting the tag team division in NXT and also the kind of talent that exists down there. Dawson and Wilder are a phenomenal tag team. Really makes you think of the old classics like the Brainbusters and the Andersons and whatnot. It's great to see that because it's something that you really haven't seen on the tag team level or on any level in a very long time. And kudos to Big Cass and Enzo there as well, because all 4 of those men are competing at the highest level that they have in their entire careers. And we can say that with a lot of confidence because, of course, Wilder and Dawson, they cut their teeth in this part of the world. It's great to see them doing as well as they are. Trust me, I could not be a bigger fan of either of those two men. But here again, Roadblock overall, decent show. Those two matches, go out of your way to see those if you haven't yet. The rest of the card was basically just an episode of Raw. So it is what it is, but definitely go out of your way to see those two matches. And the number one story of the week is the announcement that WrestleMania 33 will be taking place in Orlando. That's fantastic. Because of the fact that I have always wanted to do it at WrestleMania and never had a chance to. And now that it's going to be in Orlando, that's literally a couple hours drive for me, so that's great. As you can tell, I've already started more or less making plans to attend. And will likely be there, barring any type of weirdness that goes on to preclude me from being there. At any rate, the announcement was made about a week or so ago that WrestleMania will be returning to Central Florida. This is the second time that it will be held, or that will have been held at the Orange Bowl there in Orlando. Excuse me. And it's really telling because of the fact that Orlando has kind of become the second home to WWE outside of Stamford, Connecticut. It's a great spot for them because, excuse me, because they've got everything there that they need. The production at Full Sail University, NXT, and all the talent that they have there. A lot of the wrestlers themselves now reside in Florida and in Central Florida. It's a fantastic opportunity. Going to be a great time of year to be in Florida. Never a bad time of year to be in Florida, though, in my opinion. But it's definitely a lot to look forward to. Definitely something that's going to be big. Also because of the fact that they could. This is one of those things that's been talked about for a while. They could debut a actual physical WWE Hall of Fame. There's been talk of it being somewhere on the Universal Studios City Walk. There was a facility that became available that looked like it could have been a good fit, but evidently it's not going to be in use. It was a building that at one point in time had been themed after the NBA. News has come out, if you follow any of the theme park blogs, news has come out that it's going to be retrofit into something to do with Willy Wonka. So still could be put in one of the buildings that are around there that might be vacant, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see what goes on there. But regardless, it's going to be a big occasion there for WrestleMania 33. That is about a year away, though, so we've got a long time to wait for that and a lot of time to look forward to it. What we don't have a whole lot of time to look forward to are the events that are happening this weekend in and around the Carolinas. To our knowledge, there are at least 14 events happening this weekend. Yeah, that's a lot. But March has been a very busy month, which is fantastic to see. We think there probably are closer to maybe 17. I've seen a few posters floating around, but I haven't been able to secure knowledge of those, and we do the artwork for the show a couple days in advance anyway. So do your best to peruse social media and find out what's happening near you. If you don't see it here on Rasslin and Redbeard, go find it yourself. At any rate, let's go ahead and roll those posters and get you caught up on what's happening in this part of the world. there you have it, our rundown of the events that are happening in this part of the world. If you are a wrestler, a promoter, or in some way involved with a wrestling promotion, and you didn't see your poster in that part of the show, it's because we didn't know about it. We do our best to keep track of what's happening in this part of the world, but we do miss things. That said, if you are a individual who's involved with a wrestling promotion in this part of the world, and you'd like to have your stuff either featured here on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page for Rasslin with Redbeard, you can go ahead and send it to us either by sending us a message here through YouTube, through Twitter, Facebook. Got a lot of options there available for you to communicate with us. We'd be glad to put your stuff out there because it's a big part of what we do here on Rasslin with Redbeard. Appreciate you guys tuning in once again. If you enjoy the program, go ahead and click that like button. And if you really enjoy what we've got going on with the channel here, please click subscribe. We've had a lot of new people join us here on the channel recently, and we do appreciate you guys connecting with us. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Midweek Update here on Rasslin with Redbeard.